the 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. If Chet gets his technical difficulties worked out, he'll be joining us. But we have our guest, Kevin Reilly, who's already with us tonight. So, Kevin, we're going to jump right in. Well, there he is. We'll see if he sticks around with us. Kevin?
It's like having Peter Pan working with you, you know?
Isn't it? Isn't it? Well, hey, Kevin, welcome back. We're going to jump right to it. We're going to talk a little bit of Eagles camp, hopefully, and what you have going on with Villanova this year. But most importantly, you spent last weekend in Canton, Ohio, celebrating the induction of Coach Dick Vermeil to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How was that?
It was an incredible personal experience and one that I'll never forget because of the people who were there, including the coach, of course. That's the reason we were there. But, you get into your late 60s, early 70s, and you're able to get together with some of your teammates that you haven't seen in a while. And we've been fortunate because in running coaches Boy Scout tournament, a lot of these guys came back year after year, but we haven't done it since the pandemic. So this was an opportunity for us to get together. And believe it or not, fellas, the wives were reluctant to go, but in spite of that, they went because we wanted to have them there. We knew it was going to be special. And they had a much better time than they ever thought. It was 3 great days of camaraderie and great stories. We had a Friday night dinner with about 15 alumni and their wives, and everybody had to get up and tell their favorite Dick Vermeil story or Eagles story. And I'm telling you, if it wasn't X-rated, it could be on Netflix tomorrow.
Hey, I got to ask you something, Kevin. How come you're not in this picture? I see a whole bunch of ex-Eagles there. I know you didn't play for Coach Vermeil, but I'm not seeing you in this picture.
Well, I took that invitation as the guys who played for Dick, and I didn't want to wreck it if that's what it was.
Okay.
But I can see some guys in there who didn't play for him, and I probably should have gotten the picture. But hindsight's 20/20. What are you going to do?
Yep.
Hey, Kevin, listening to Coach's speech, everybody knows he's a highly high-strung, emotional man. He kind of took a little different route and kept his composure for whatever 24 minutes.
Well, Bill, we checked with Las Vegas the morning of the induction to see what the over and under was on him not going to be able to cry, and they took it off the board. That's how bad. No, I'm just kidding you, because we knew there would be tears somewhere, but boy, oh boy, did he surprise all of us by keeping it for the, he did a fantastic game plan of that. I stopped counting after 40, the names that he mentioned that were important to him getting where he was. And he probably wanted to do another 40. And here's what a lot of people don't know. They put him last because if you realize by watching, there wasn't a commercial and he took 23 minutes. They knew he was going to take a lot of time. He asked for it. He was the Don out there as far as I was concerned, and the guy that, had really stirred him up on Friday night, believe it or not. And I had never seen, Chet will tell you this. There was not a dry eye in the place when that standing ovation happened, when he gave that honor to his wife. As I couldn't have got here at all without the most, important person in my life, and Carol. And if you guys, I know you've met her down at the Boy Scout tournament and stuff. She has been just tremendous with him over the years. You can imagine the demands that he puts on her, and because he puts them on himself, and for her to, move to Kansas City, for her to go to St. Louis and start new friendships, a house with kids in it, you got to be a special person. And I've gotten to know her really well in the last 20 years, and she is a doll. She is a saint, and he gave her just due. But I got to tell you, fellas, I never saw, and that's because the players, the players that were single, she'd have them over for dinner, whether it was St. Louis, Philadelphia, or Kansas City. It didn't matter. And she developed personal relationships with these young men, that time. And I just looked around me, and it was any guy that played for Dick was standing up there, clapping their hands together and tears rolling down their cheeks, because that was such a special moment. And he planned it just right.
Yeah, it was awesome. And by the way, not only did Coach Vermeil thank the Philly fans, owners of all those 3 pro teams that he coached, and pretty much every single assistant coach he ever had, too, I think he mentioned, but he also recalled his time at UCLA and getting occasional advice from the legendary John Wooden while both of those guys were there.
One time I was complaining about the players we lost in recruiting. He said, sit down. I sit down. When John Wooden says sit down, you sit down. I sit down. He said, now listen, coach, don't worry about those players you don't have. Just make sure you do a great job of making those who you have the best they could possibly be. And I've operated under that simple philosophy the rest of my coaching career.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a little quote that goes with that. I've been with him on occasion when he's spoken with me at events and things like that. And little quote that goes with that he'll tell you anytime you ask. And he said, people don't care about how much you know until people know about how much you care. And his history of caring for people and going above and beyond the call of duty for some of these guys, even after they've retired and some of them fallen on hard times, no one will know the amount of time and money that has come out of his own pocket and his own time frame to try to take care of these guys. He really lives that motto. St. Francis de Sales had a saying, be who you are and be that well. Nobody does it better than Dick Vermeil.
And Kevin, I know you have worked with Coach, as you say, in the Boy Scout golf outing for many, many years. You don't have just a coach-player relationship. You have a very special relationship with a friend.
Yeah, I mean, it really has turned out that way. We started to seeing each other, on the banquet circuit. That's how it started out. And then I asked him to come down and speak at a banquet for the Rotary Club of Wilmington, which was pretty large, and he did that. And from there, we just kind of continued to, be with each other at different events. And then one day when his golf tournament was floundering, he asked me if I would join the board. And I said, sure. One thing led to another. And within a year, I was running the whole show and bringing back great memories. And, we went from having 4 celebrities when I came on board to having 52 at the last one. So, I mean, the thing grew. And I told him, I said, Coach, it'll take me 2 years to get it back to where it's going to grow. I said, we'll have 12 to 15 guys my first year. We'll probably have 20 my second. And then when we get 30, I'll have guys calling me saying, how come I wasn't invited? Because it becomes a party. And you guys were there. The last one we had, there were more guys riding in carts than there were golfing. But that's okay. We wanted to have them back because it was becoming a reunion.
Just wondering, were Bill and I included in those 52 celebrities?
I think I did include you guys.
Semi-celebrities. Hey, before we go on to talk about the current Eagles, I want to ask you one final thing about the Hall of Fame thing. We heard some great speeches from the likes of Tony Baselli and Bryant Young and some of the other guys. Other than the speeches, any other memorable moments from your weekend in Canton, Kevin?
Well, I'm going to get back to the speakers. That was the finest list of quality human beings that I can remember being up there. I mean, almost all of them mentioned God. Almost all of them were still married to their first wife and had kids. And, all of them were leaders and, had people speaking volumes about them. None of them seemed to be in any kind of trouble. I mean, probably there were some, but I mean, just came across to me that we had some really fine human beings that were inducted into that Hall of Fame. Not taking anything away from prior years, but that's what struck me.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kevin, Coach made big reference, and I'm sure it was a big surprise. Andy Reid showed up just as he did with Brian Dawkins. Coach really thought that was special, and it was.
I got to know Andy Reid kind of personally. He asked me to come back and speak to the team when they were mandatorily faced with a 4-hour training session for mental health. And Mike Quick and Bisek Ahema were supposed to be with me. We all had 15 minutes, and they relinquished their 15 minutes to me, both guys, so I could give my full speech. And I told them, no, that wouldn't be right. And they said, no, you give the full speech, and you guys have seen me do that, and it's going to resonate with them. And Andy pulled me aside after that, and he said, and I don't think a lot of people know that. A lot of people don't know this. I didn't know. He said, I really appreciate you coming in today. And that was just what we needed to hear. And he said, you don't know this, but my brother is only operating with one arm. Now, his brother didn't lose his arm, but in a motorcycle accident, he basically damaged it where it's unusable. So Andy got that piece of it. And I won't mention the ball player's name, but one ball player was really hurting. It was a starter hurting with depression and thinking about quitting football. And he said to me, would you mind going in and spending some time with him? And I felt honored that guy would do that. And, anytime I saw him after that, I'd try to reintroduce myself, and he'd say, I know who you are. And he did. He's a good man. We sent out a letter meaning to go to his boss at the Kansas City Chiefs to help with the Boy Scout pavilion that was being built during fundraising. And Andy himself sent in a major check. That's the kind of guy he is. I think Dick helped him out a lot when he first got here, filling out what you're going to get from the Philadelphia media, Philadelphia fans, and really gave him an education on what to expect. And Andy Reid's one of those kind of guys that doesn't forget who's taking care of him. So I'm not surprised that they have that relationship.
All right. Kevin, we are fast approaching another Eagles season, one that a lot of people are pretty excited about. How are you feeling about the 2022 Birds a couple of days shy of the first preseason game?
Well, I feel really good about them. I'm just looking before I got on the air with you guys, the depth charts. I don't know that the Eagles have had this kind of quality depth in the last, I'd say, 12 to 15 years. And, you take a look at this offensive line that's coming back. Man, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey. And on the other side, you got Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mullata. I mean, a couple of those guys are going to be all pro this year, maybe 3 of them. And I'm telling you, there's some guys like, Brandon Dickerson, who's going to be all pro someday. They have really bolstered a line that years ago was not that good, and they were playing with second string and sometimes third string guys. I look at their lineup being healthy. The receiving core is really, really good. Those 3 guys that are going to be the top receivers out there, look out. You got this guy coming in there, A.J. Brown. You've got the Goddard going to be the tight end coming across the middle. This guy's going to be able to come across the middle, which is going to open everything for Avonte Smith. And the big question that I keep getting back and forth, and I'll say it now, and I'll continue to say it until proven not, Jalen Hurts is the real deal. He's played 18. He started 18 games. That's a season, guys. That's a rookie season that I think if you looked at the stats, you'd say that's not bad. It's not bad overall. But what I like about him both is his calmness under pressure and his leadership ability. The first major game that I ever watched as a spectator was Alabama playing LSU. My stepson went to school at Alabama, and I watched this freshman quarterback light it up in the first half. I don't know who they played. And I watched every time he came off the field, how he went over to the bench to thank the offensive lineman, that he went up to the wide receivers. And you could tell, I said, how does a freshman get this kind of, leadership quality, this quickly? I think you're going to see it this year. And now he's got some of the talent that can really help him. And defensively, I'm really excited about the linebackers they've gotten and two of the defensive linemen. And I'll tell you, this guy, Darius Slay, he's the real deal, man. He's going to have another great performance out here. I think the Eagles are under the radar in this season with a lot of the people that are forecasting where they're going to be. I really see them having a good year.
Yeah, I do too. And Kevin, I've already been on the record saying I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a big year as well. I was going to ask you, though, you mentioned it, the linebackers. First of all, we have linebackers this year. That's good. And we got some that can play. I think we're going to see a little bit more 4-3, might see a little 3-4. We're going to have a tough front seven, however they line them up.
Oh, without a doubt. Now you've got guys that not only can, keep the double team off these guys, but you got guys that are really quick moving. This guy, Keizer White, coming in, he's the real deal. Hassan Reddick, another guy that's really going to add some speed. What I like about these two guys is they're going to be able to play 3 downs sometime. They're going to be able to cover people. And, not having to make that move with having a guy come on the field for one play, 3rd and long, is really going to benefit you. When you're in the game, you get into a rhythm. And, man, if you're only coming in for one play, it's tough to get in a rhythm.
So you're thinking of playoff team. Now, Bill and I are going to make our official predictions around September 7th, the week before the first game. I'm going to tell you right now, we're both looking at a double-digit win season, I'm pretty sure. Are they going to win the division, Kevin?
It depends on how the Cowboys play. You never know. They've got some talent down there. They could surprise you. They could also stink up the joint. And it really depends on their quarterback. They're going to be a good football team. I don't think the Giants are anywhere near where the Eagles are right now. The Washington Redskins, I'm not sure they could beat the Pottstown Firebirds, to tell you the truth. And it's not because of talent. It's because of the organization. That is the worst run organization under that owner. And until he's gone, I don't see this team ever going anywhere. And I'll tell you, it's almost like a jail sentence to play for them right now. So I really believe that I think they'll win 10 games. I've looked at it and I've gone over it. They'll get upset once or twice, but they'll upset some people once or twice. I think if they can play without the major injuries they've had, and I really look for the running game to pick up, if we can just keep our running backs healthy. The guy that I really, really liked coming out of the offense last year as the running back was the second string guy named
Boston Scott?
Kenny Gainwell.
Kenny Gainwell.
He just really surprised me, catching the ball and being able to drive forward after the first hit. This is a guy that's like, he runs with bad intentions, and you kind of like to see that. And he's going to be a nice, I think, substitute when he's taken over, comes in for 3rd down. And I think you're going to see him a lot on the goal line because he can punch it in. Now, the other thing they have going in the goal line is a 230-pound quarterback who's pretty good at punching it in. So I'm looking for, 20 points a game from this team at a minimum with the offensive power that I think they have and the backup strength in the second string.
Hey, Kevin, you mentioned, you think the team might be a little bit under the radar, and I feel that way too, looking at it from the national media. But that all has to be towards Jalen Hurts, I think, because anybody that sits back with a clear lens and look at how this team has improved has to say this is a pretty good football team. There must be a lot of skeptics out there about Hurts, me not being one.
Yeah. I think there are, and I'm not sure why. I mean, Sirianni is really going to show whether he's a good coach this year or an okay coach. He did a heck of a job last year under some circumstances that everybody ridiculed him with, talking about, plants growing and things like that. This guy, he's thinking differently, and sometimes you got to think out of the box. Now, they got a lot of tape on Jalen Hurts, but they got a lot of tape on him without J.B. Brown, and they got a lot of tape on him without Gainwell and what's his name coming back, Sanders coming back, and those guys could really be tough. And we didn't, even get into the backups behind that. I think the Eagles defense is going to create a lot of turnovers this year and give them short fields. So it's hard to say, but if Sirianni takes advantage of these guys and puts them in positions to catch the football, especially Brown coming across the middle, he's not afraid, and you ought to be afraid to have to tackle that guy if he's coming across the middle and you're a free safety. So he could wear some people out. What is that going to mean to some of the speed receivers they have, like Watkins and Devontae Smith? He's going to be going clip here, clip there, run there, run there. Oh, here it goes. Somebody's going to be sneaking up back there, and he's going to outrun a free safety. So they have speed now. It's just a matter of they can come together as a team. And that's Sirianni's responsibility. Can you make these guys come together as a team and play that nobody cares who gets, the glory if we win football games?
Hey, Kevin, before we wrap things up and let you go, one of the radio stations today was talking about Mount Rushmores of, all sorts of different topics.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, who are the Eagles Mount Rushmore for? I mean, Chuck Bednarik is clearly one. Who are the other three faces on the Eagles Mount Rushmore?
Oh, an Eagles route Mount Rushmore. You're going to maybe not like some of it, but, I've got to put Bill Berge in there, because I played with the guy. I watched the guy. He was something else, an instinctive ball player. Wasn't great on film watching, but boy, he knew where the ball was on, and he liked to hurt you. So Bill Berge would have to be there. I got to go with Pete Retzlaff. I love this guy. You were never out of a game up there at Franklin Field with Tommy McDonald and Pete Retzlaff, no matter if you were behind by 14 with 3 minutes to go. There was something that could happen because Jurgensen could throw it long or throw it underneath to Retzlaff, and he always carried about 3 people 20 yards. So that would be my third. And then the other one I'd have to say, is Reggie White. I haven't seen anybody play like that in my whole life up to this point.
Bill, give me your 4.
Do I?
Give me your 4, Bill.
Well, my 4 blue that I've seen play, Berge would be 1, Dawkins would be 2. That I've seen play. I'm probably going off the rails on this one, but I'd be a Jerry Sizemore kind of guy because I love offensive linemen, and I love Jason Kelce because I love offensive linemen. So I would, off the top of my head, I'd run there.
All right, I would go with Chuck Bednarik, even though I didn't
see him. I know.
Brian Dawkins, Reggie White, and I'm going to put Dick Vermeil up there as the 4th face of the Eagles.
Can't argue with that. Hey, Kevin, I before we let you go, your book, still selling your book? That's question 1. And question 2, still doing Villanova football?
Yeah, they convinced me to come back for another year. I love the program. I had no idea we'd be ranked number 1 in the CAA. We're ranked number 1. We've got some strong kids coming back. We play Army the 3rd game of the season. That's always interesting to play that Division I team. We held Penn State last year to 12 yards on 14 carries. I loved that in the first half, but they showed up big time in the second half, and their speed outdid us. And I love the culture of the program. So I'm going to be doing Villanova football, and I'll hopefully get to the stadium this year and be doing some appearances and maybe some of the suites there and things like that. Still watching. I miss my broadcasting days there, but then again, I don't, because I got 11 grandkids that are all playing sports, and I don't get to see them on the weekends. But now I do a little bit. So it's all good in the hood, as they say.
There you go. Tell us about your book.
The book is still out there. You can get it on Amazon. We're into our 4th printing. I'm approaching 10,000 copies in either sales or the few that I've given away, more than a few, because I go to some of these camps for underprivileged kids and other charities and stuff, and I don't even hesitate to give it away if it can help people, because I lay myself out in there, as you guys know. No secrets to my life, and I decided to do that, and the good with the bad is laid out in there, and it just shows you can make comebacks from anything if you believe in it.
And for anybody out there listening, if you have not read this book, you are missing out.
Let me show you a copy of it.
Absolutely.
I should have had one right there, but there it is right there. It's called Tackling Life.
Tackling Life. On Amazon
How faith,
or at your local bookstores, right?
Yep. Faith, family, and fortitude got me through tough times.
Excellent.
All right, my man. Well,
Hey,
Kevin, we appreciate you coming by as always.
A pleasure, guys. Always a
fighting
pleasure.
through our technical issues.
Sorry about that.
Oh, and one last thing for you, because I want everybody to hear this. Thank you for showing up at our man Freddie Burns' fundraiser. The talk you gave could not have been better. So much appreciated. Can't say enough for what you did out there.
Well, I tell you what, I felt totally fulfilled coming from that organization and seeing, I'll just say it like it is. All the blue collar people there were there to support him, as well as some white collar people too. But I mean, that's what it's all about, taking care of each other, and to see that community rally around that kid, man, I was juiced up when I was talking.
Yeah.
Chet will tell you that.
You were
I got
great,
emotional. So hope he's doing well. Chet gives me an update every once in a while, and if I can help him in any way again, you guys just let me know.
Very good.
Absolutely. All right, Kevin. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, talk to you later. Be
Take
good,
care.
guys.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Chet, it's always great to have Kevin with us. He's just always good. Such a first-class guy.
Indeed. And by the way, Bill, 32 days until the Eagles season opener. Ricky Waters will tell you that. 32 days.
What? For me? For what?
For who? For what? Hey,
for
he
who,
did
for
okay,
what?
though, for 3 years. Beyond that, he learned.
Yes, he did. Hey, Chet, we're not behind because we started late, so we're going to run this thing through. I think we should probably say, I think we might have missed our Facebook time. The comments are saying they couldn't find us on Facebook.
Yeah,
we might have
put
been
that
too
out.
late.
That is true because we had to start by 7:10. We started at like 7:10 and a half. So I put some notes out there. We are only on YouTube tonight. I said, please find us on our YouTube channel. I see a bunch of people have, and hopefully the rest will look for us and find us or watch us later on.
That's right. Okay. Hey, school's back in pretty soon. It's already in down here in the Sunshine State. It's a good chance your couch will be getting more mileage than your car. It's time for you to start saving with Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance.
Yeah, Bill, Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance puts you in control. You only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage that a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. See how much you can save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent. In Westchester, Pennsylvania, that is Dave LaVoy. Call Dave at 610-430-0700. Once again, 610-430-0700 and start to save more now that you are driving less.
Hey, Chet, we're talking about having a good time at Canton. I certainly want to get your take on that. But speaking of having a good time, what's going on at the Irish Rover Station House? That's always a good time.
Yeah, they're having a great summer at the Irish Rover. I was actually there last Thursday, by the way, for Keep the Pint Night. So I got this nice little pint, and it holds beer. I tested it out. It works. Yeah, it really does. So how about that? Just what it's supposed to do. And they still apparently have going on those killer burger wars. So yeah, there's a couple that you can try out tomorrow. Anna's the Excellent Burger and the Ides of March Burger. And then they also have some dinner specials, as they always do, Thursday through Sunday. Among appetizers this week, it's a loaded potato flatbread. And in terms of entrees, there's a citrus salmon salad, which as a salmon lover sounds quite delicious, plus a chicken club pasta. And yeah, if you are a beer lover like me, just know that there's always 24 beers on tap. A tip from me, try the Ship Bottom, I'm going to get this right, the Ship Bottom Blueberry Bikini Bottom Wheat. Trust me, it is delicious. I know you don't like these fruity beers, but trust me, it's a good one. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Find them on the web at irishroverstationhouse.com. And before you continue, Bill, I'm feeling the need for Ray Diddy tonight. How's that?
Hi, this is Ray Didinger, and it is always fun to talk sports with these two guys, Bill and Chet, on Philly Pressbox Radio.
Well, Chet, speaking of Ray Diddy, he was also in Canton, Ohio. Give us a quick rundown of your experience there. Let's get that fit in since we didn't get in there with Kevin. How was your trip?
Oh, it was great. They did a terrific job, Philly Sports Trips, which is who I went with. And let me see. What I wanted to do was give a shout out to those guys, Vince Rizzuto and Bob Cavanaugh, for putting together an amazing trip to Ohio. There were, I think, just 15 of us, but we had a blast. They had a fun happy hour event on Friday evening at a rooftop bar at the hotel where we stayed, followed by a Cleveland Guardians game at Progressive Field that night, the bus trip to Canton on Saturday for the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinements, and then a Sunday trip to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So much fun. And, even with all of that, Bill, I want to mention that I was somehow able to squeeze in trips to 3 different breweries in Cleveland, all of which were pretty good, especially this one, the Butcher and the Brewer, and a place called Masthead Brewing. They were terrific. But anyway, Philly Sports Trips has all sorts of things going on this fall. Trips to every Eagles road game, plus a trip to London and Leeds for the Philadelphia Sons of Ben, the Union soccer team, and a Wrigley Field trip in September as well. The website, phillysportstrips.com. But yeah, I had a terrific weekend. And Cleveland is an underrated city. A lot of people knock it, but there's a lot going on there, really.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Chet, I'm kind of sad to say this. I caught some hell in my house for not thinking that it would be a good idea for me to have gone to Canton.
Wow. You should have been there.
Who thought? Well, I had been gone the week before to Atlantic City to the the memorabilia show.
Yeah.
So, and I knew I had to come back here to Florida. It just wasn't all squeezing in there. And so I never even really gave it a whole lot of thought. And this weekend while I was watching it, and I said, you were there and some others I knew were there, was, did you not think that maybe you wouldn't have liked to have gone?
You should have considered it. And by the way, again, speaking of Ray Diddy, he's doing his play, Tommy and Me, not this weekend, but the following weekend out in Hershey. I don't have the details in front of me, but I am going to try to go on Saturday afternoon, the 20th. Tickets are still available. So look into that out in Hershey.
Only a few shows, right? It's not the full.
Yeah, it's only 3 or 4 shows this time. Yeah. It's like Thursday, Friday, and maybe 2 on Saturday, something like that.
It's probably going to be the last go at it. So if you have not seen Tommy and Me, it's well worth going out there and take your date. Your wife might say she doesn't want to go, or your husband, whatever.
Yeah, my wife actually enjoyed it. So
my wife enjoyed it too, and
there you go.
She enjoyed the story. She's not a crazy football fan, but she enjoyed the story, and it was well done and all that. So it's a good date night for everybody. Grab your spouse and go on and do it.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, let's talk Phillies.
Let's talk Phillies. While you were busy away all weekend, the Phillies were fighting at the bat rack every night. That offense exploded against the lowly Nats. They're terrible, and but the Phils were hitting the ball. The pitching was solid. The bullpen was solid. They are playing good baseball. Bounced back with another win last night against the lowly Nats, or the lowly Marlins. Need to keep going. They're playing good ball.
Despite my nonstop weekend in Ohio, I was keeping tabs on the Phils the whole time. I had the score of the games pinned to my phone's home screen, and they just kept adding to the run total every night, it seemed. They are playing really well, and all of a sudden they're on pace for 90 or 91 wins. Who would have thunk that, Bill, when they were 8 or 9 games under 500 back in late May? You would think a trip to the postseason. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and they're doing most of this, of course, without Bryce Harper, who we hope will be back at the end of August.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's contributing. That's the thing. It's of course it also helps when Hoskins, Rhys Hoskins, comes up and hits home runs in the first inning for 3 games in a row. Nice to put yourself out in the lead in the first. So that's good. But everybody's contributing. They're playing good ball, and everybody's not going to stay hot at the same time. So everybody needs to do their piece, and As guys slump a little bit, the next guy picks up. JT's swinging the bat real well now. That's good. Alec Boehm's still swinging well. And the pitching, we'll see how Noah Syndergaard does tonight. He got rained out. He got a win in a rained out game the other night. But if he can be solid, they can run 4 or 5 guys out there and win games in a series, in a 7-game series.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a whole lot from Syndergaard. I mean, he did get the semi-complete game first win because of the rain delay. It was a 5-inning thing. I'll tell you, if he and they can beat the Marlins tonight, now Contreras on the mound for them, I'll be really impressed. They're actually favored. Go figure that the Phillies are actually favored despite that pitching matchup. If they win that one, Bill, I'm going to print up some World Series tickets.
Well, I don't know that we want to go that far. Hey,
all right.
Speaking of World Series tickets, Chet, how would you like to be a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers? The Milwaukee Brewers were in the playoffs. They were a team that was above the Phillies. They were in one of those 3 wild cards and sold out.
Well, they were in first place at the time.
Trade. You're right. They sold out at the trade deadline. They're now out of the mix for now. They gave away their best players.
Yeah, including their all-star closer, who's probably the best closer in the league, and Hader. And now they're on the outside looking in.
There'd be a lot of haters in Philly if that happened, that's for sure.
Chasing the Phillies and the Padres for those final 2 wild card spots right now. I don't know what's going on. I don't follow them closely enough to know why they did all that, but who cares? It helped the Phillies, right?
Yeah, that's right. And, hey, one other note on baseball before we hit another topic I know you want to talk about. Do you realize that, all this noise about the Yankees and how well the Yankees are playing and this and that, the Los Angeles Dodgers have lost like 7 games less than the Yankees, and they are on pace to win 118 games. You know who the last team to win 118 games was?
I have no idea.
How about never?
I was going to say that's a lot of wins.
116 games is the most games ever won in a season, and the Dodgers right now are on pace to win 118 games. Woo! All right.
Wow.
We asked Chris Wheeler about Pete Rose coming to town on last week's Philly Pressbox Radio. How profound was Wheel's answer after what happened on Sunday?
Well, I'll tell you, for anyone who missed last week's show, this is so damn perfect now when we replay this part. In addition to singing the praises of Pete Rose, he calls him a friend. Wheels talked about how important he was to the 80 championship team. He also had this to say about Pete.
People are going to have their opinions on Pete. We had a show down in Clearwater last year that I was lucky enough to MC where Pete was there and Bob Boone, Bull, and Larry Baugh. And it was fabulous. It was just great. Pete has no censor, no filter, never has. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, don't give him too much live time doing something, but totally understand all the negatives involved in that. But thankfully, I don't have to talk about that or make those kind of decisions.
Oops.
Crystal ball for Wheels. And, it started out so good, too, because the introduction was fantastic. The fans really responded well to Pete. Pete responded well. A couple tears in his eyes as he was introduced and all that. But not so good once he went in the booth.
Yeah, you could say that. What happened Sunday, he got the standing ovation, which was nice. A few boos, but most people cheered loudly and stood up for him. But then he had a little back and forth, it turns out, before all of that we didn't know about until later, with Phillies Inquirer reporter Alex Coffey, whom we had on the show a few months back. And then he had another little discussion with an AP reporter, and a rather troublesome visit to the broadcast booth. Bill, here's the thing. I've gone back and forth about Pete Rose in my mind quite often over the last 30 years. He's obviously one of baseball's greatest ever players, whose status, of course, was tainted by the betting stuff. Yes, he has bet on baseball, including on his own team's games. That did come out. That kept him out of the Hall of Fame. And then in 2017, shortly after the Phillies announced that he was going to be that year's Phillies Wall of Fame inductee, came the news that back in the early and mid 70s, starting in 1973, Rose had this multi-year sexual relationship with a girl that started when she was 14. He claimed she was 16, or at least that she said he was 16, as if, that made it all right in his mind because, hey, 16 is the legal age in Ohio. Never mind that he was married, had 2 kids at the time. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, the thing with Alex Coffey, he said, hey, that was 55 years ago. Well, it was actually 49 years ago when it started, so his math wasn't that good. It was the reason Fox didn't invite him back for postseason coverage that he had took part in the prior 2 or 3 years. He said 5 years, Bill, to figure out how to respond to questions that he would be asked, and he came up with, I'm not here to talk about that. It was 55 years ago, babe. So that's why Pete's taken some heat over the last few days because of all that. Look, I'm going to say right now, I think he should still go into the Baseball Hall of Fame, but you can't talk like that in the 21st century, Bill. You just can't. You learned how to be a great hitter, Pete. Now learn how to be a decent human being.
Well, it's too late for that. It's too late for the decent human being part. But, to me, Chet, and maybe I'm an old timer too, Pete Rose is going to be 82 years old. Babe, honey, dear, blah, blah, blah. Common words. And I'm not sure that Pete really meant anything by that part. Of course, because it came from a female, it became a big deal. Is it excusable? I don't know. But you go into a restaurant and you get a cup of coffee, you're with an 80-year-old guy, they say, thanks, honey. Happens to this day. So there's that. Now, what he did on the air, that's a whole nother deal that's just off the rails.
He's got to know better.
Yeah, you got to know better there. But the baseball part, was great. Enjoyed it. His teammates, every one of them, wanted him there, and they cheered for him and clapped for him. And that part was really cool. It's just a shame that Pete can be a dope.
And then it was funny. I got home from Ohio Sunday evening, and the Phillies, NBC Sports Philly was replaying the game from 10 to midnight. But they conveniently edited out the bottom of the 6th and the whole 7th inning when Pete Rose was on there. So I didn't get to hear all of it. I heard some of it on YouTube, saw some of the stuff that was on YouTube posted by people, and then I read all the stuff that he said, 3 or 4 things that were very inappropriate. They should have had a 7-second delay. They should have known that with him.
Right. Well, speaking of dopes, Chet, how about Keith Hernandez? He's become today's dope. He doesn't want to come to Philly anymore and do Phillies games because the Phillies play bad baseball. Keith, really?
Yeah, come on, man. Well, Keith's no brain surgeon either. That was just dumb to say. But he is right that the Phillies in recent years have played a lot of poor fundamental baseball. I'll give him that. But still, you have to do your job in good towns where the games are being played. Plus, they're a lot better now than they were a few months ago and last year when under Joe Girardi, by the way, a New York Yankees ex-manager, they were playing pretty poor fundamental baseball. They're a lot better now. So, Keith Hernandez, shut your mouth, okay?
Shut your mouth. Come on to town. We'll take you out back.
Hey, getting back to Pete Rose, how about this? Kurt Schilling called out Pete Rose on Twitter for his lack of self-awareness. Kurt, who's had his own issues over the years, calls out Pete Rose. You can't make this stuff up, folks.
No, funny stuff. That's for sure.
Bill.
All right, Chet. We got a random Chet coming up.
That was some heavy stuff. I'm a little hot under the collar from all of that conversation, Bill, because first of all, we're a week and a half now into not having air conditioning in this office where I work. So I'm sweating in my little dry fit shirt here. And I'm going to take you right now on a little 3-minute tour, Bill. I'm going to take you on a 3-minute tour. As soon as I can figure out where the button is, it'll take me to that departure spot. Some of you know this, some don't, but in addition to doing Philly Pressbox Radio, I have a real job. My real job is doing business news for a radio network. No, not the Wall Street Journal Radio Network. They used to be in this building right here, but they closed up shop in 2014, and now it's Compass Media Networks, which took it over, but just never got around to changing the sign. Oh, well. This is the guy who's, I guess, the star of the Compass Media family, Gordy Deal. Gordon hosts This Morning, America's First News, every morning, starting at 5 a.m. I think he actually arrives at like 3 a.m. Better him than me. Oh, by the way, Gordy is also the New York Football Giants PA announcer. How about that? This is Gordy with Jennifer Kashinka and Mike Gavin. They are the team that puts together America's First News, and they do it in here. This is where the studio is, where they do that morning show. I mentioned last week about the heat and the fact that we didn't have air conditioning in our studios here. We still don't. But we do have fans. We have so many fans. Yeah, we got this little fan right there. This is our biggest fan right there. It's always good to have big fans. There's a little fan over there going strong. See that? And on my desk over here, I have a little tiny fan. Doesn't even look like a fan, but it actually is a fan, and it cools. This is my desk, as I said, and it's actually cleaner than usual, believe it or not. Got a couple of monitors, and yes, one of them is on WMMR, and you can hear it. Listen. How about that? MMR rocking with a little Weezer. And even though it's like really hot in here, of course I had to have coffee today, always. Let's see what else. Oh, look at these people. Who are these people on the wall? Oh, look, it's your Money Now anchors, Jennifer Kashinka and some guy named Jim Chesko. Speaking of the updates, this is where we do the twice hourly news updates. This is our little studio right here. The microphone and the precision clock got to be dead on accurate, going right on at 20 and 50 past every hour. I stick around Wednesdays at 7 o'clock and do our Philly Pressbox radio show from this studio right here, and you'll recognize this background, I think, because, yeah, when you see me on our show every Wednesday, that's behind me. My view, of course, is facing the other way, this way, and look at that. We got an Eagles calendar up there, Jason Kelsey on the month of August. A picture of Spam, don't ask, I don't know. Nittany Lion, Ray and Glenn's Book of Sports Movies, a Phillies Bear. Over here you got Dean Martin. And hey, who doesn't have a picture of Mick Jagger and Kate Beckinsale on the wall? Oh yeah, and Willie Nile, and the Spam, as I mentioned. Whew, the heat is getting to me, kids. I sure hope it is cooler by the next time we do one of these little video tours. Let's get back to Sports Talk Radio now and Philly Pressbox Radio.
Well, I was impressed, thinking, people are going to want that poster with you on it. You're going to be needing autographed copies of that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
to be passed around. But then you outdid yourself by throwing Kate Beckinsale up there. Who would have thought that Kate would have showed up at your office?
Well, Kate and Mick shared the birthday, so I used that graphic, 2 years ago for our show, and I just said, hey, I'm going to keep that picture, and there it is. I get to look at Kate. Goodness. When you bore me, Bill, I just look at Kate.
Yeah, well, that's probably most of the time. Hey, what kind of company doesn't have the air conditioner fixed after a week and a half?
Yeah, I
You're
know.
supposed to
Tell
be
me
like
about it.
Running a real organization there.
Yeah. Well, Dow Jones owns the building. Compass Media actually rents it from them, and they don't seem to care about their tenants very much here.
Well, the Dow went crazy today. Maybe they made enough money that you could get an air conditioner. Hey,
I hope so.
Let's give a shout out to all our shows over at the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. Wall-to-wall coverage continuing to grow. Catch all the action at www.eopsports.com, as well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube. You can find our show on Philly Pressbox Radio YouTube channel as well. Please help us out by hitting those subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and share with your families and friends. As you can see, we have added shows. Devereaux Sports is going to be with us on Monday night. They're going to also be Sunday. We've got lacrosse. We've got soccer starting now. That's really cool. Everywhere. Bird's Eye View is back on Thursday with Kyle. He's back. Good stuff every night of the week. And Matty B still doing his post game every night after the Phillies games as well. Like I said, the network is growing. Check us out. Every night you can find something to watch or listen to on Edge of Philly Sports Network.
You got that right, Bill.
All right, Chet, great guest tonight with Kevin Reilly, as always. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week? And don't forget, next Wednesday, we roll out the Philly Pressbox Radio 2022 Hall of Fame ballot.
Yes, yet to be determined who our guest will be, but it will be someone talking about the Phillies. I haven't gotten a confirmation from the one primary guest I had in mind, so we shall see. But yeah, we will unveil our list of candidates for our Hall of Fame, our Philly Pressbox Radio Hall of Fame next week, that you can help us then choose as far as who's going to go into the Hall the following week. So stay tuned for that and find out who our guest will be.
All right. Hey, Chet, Eagles open their preseason schedule this Friday against the Jets. Jets, you ready for some Eagles football, or like me, on the preseason stuff?
Bill, I'm a little concerned. The Eagles are 1 to 2.5 point underdogs at home in this preseason over. Can you believe that? But we did learn today that the coach says anyway that he will play the starters a little bit. No more than 2 series. So that could mean 1 series. Maybe if it's a 3 and out, it would be 2 series. I assume that means Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and some of the other guys who are healthy anyway. We know Kelsey won't be there because he's got a little work to be done on that elbow. So he won't be ready probably till the season opener, hopefully for the season opener. But yeah, I would like to see some of the starters, for a series or 2. And I'll probably tune in for a series or 2 and then head out.
I can tell you, Chad, here's the most important thing that has come out of Eagles camp at this point right now.
Yeah.
Jordan Mullata and Andre Dillard have concussions.
I think they just got out of protocol today.
They did. But when you have a concussion on the first couple of weeks of practice, I don't like that. That's not good. And now Jason Kelsey, they're saying it's just a little maintenance deal.
Yeah.
These horses have to stay healthy to make this thing happen. And all that other stuff, all that noise that's going around. Although I did think it was really cool that A.J. Brown was super excited that he went to his first Eagles public practice and 30,000 people showed up. He's like, man, this is bad. This is cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. As far as the beginning of the season and all that, I'm excited. I'm not going to watch too much of the preseason. We shall see what happens. But as I said, 32 days, Bill, I'll be watching that whole game on September 11th.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Chet, before we get to our next break, Olivia Newton-John passed away yesterday at the age of 73, day before yesterday, at the age of 73. If you were anywhere near our age, you were an Olivia Newton-John fan. I'm sure you were.
Absolutely, Bill. And in a tribute to her, you and I are going to surprise our viewers and listeners by singing a duet of her greatest hits. So are you ready?
I thought you were going to sing You're the One That I Want or something to me.
Well, I'll tell you.
I was getting a little scared there.
From the first time I saw and heard Olivia sing back in 1971 with her hit cover of Bob Dylan's If Not For You, I was a fan. Loved her big pop hits a few years later. Then Let Me Be There, If You Love Me, Let Me Know. Have You Never Been Mellow? Please, Mr. Please. And of course, I Honestly Love You. That was actually a nice ballad. I think it was my senior year of high school that was out too. Then, of course, came the many hits from Grease.
Because you thought she was talking to you.
Yeah, I did. And in the 1980s, one of the biggest hits of that decade, Physical. To be honest, I didn't love that song. It wasn't one of my favorites of hers, but it was huge. It was a monster hit. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I think I read, if I understand this right, I think that song was the number 1 song of the decade.
Yeah, that is what I heard. Physical. She was so cute. She had the little gym outfit on, doing the exercises with the fat guys behind her. It was cute. And didn't love the song, but it was cute. And she was cute as hell. So we say again, Bill, rest in peace, Olivia Newton-John.
Absolutely. Hey, Chet, I think we might have a little bone to pick here with Joe Howell, or at least I do. Well, wrong one. Hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Robbie was a fan. Robbie, I'll see you Saturday. We're going to see the Road Dogs on Saturday night.
There you go. Now I got the right button. What's this supposed to mean?
If Furman sings, I'll get a concussion.
What?
That's what I was going to say. How the hell do you get a concussion when you're not even hitting and you're wearing those goofy Guardian helmets? What's that all about?
To my point.
Yes.
Exactly to my point. It's not a good thing. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on that. We can't be having injuries, especially this early. They haven't even started contact.
Let's go.
They're not going to start
Please,
contact
mister,
until the season starts.
Don't play B-17.
Hey, let's take another quick break and get you off of here. Thank our friends at the PPCC 118 Raz Room. They post great sports memorabilia on their Facebook page so people can take a chance of winning something they may not be able to afford or have access to. All items come with certificates of authenticity. They continue to run out great autographed memorabilia from all the Philly teams and more. Check out their Facebook page. Like it or follow it. It's PPCC 118 Raz Room. That's right. It's PPCC 118 Raz Room on Facebook. Do you have a parting shot, or as long as it's not singing, we'll give you a few more seconds? But
not a true parting shot this week. But
I'm
I
hitting
will
the
say
button.
this. Yeah. We talked a lot this year about how many legends are retiring this year. Jim Gardner, Angelo Cataldi, Ben Roethlisberger, Jay Wright, Coach K, and of course, Ray Didinger. Well, we can add another big name to that list. Serena Williams. She is calling it a career after the U.S. Open. And what a career it's been. 73 singles titles, including 23 majors, just one shy of Margaret Court's record. The tennis world will certainly miss Serena. So, we're losing another one, Bill.
As good as it got. That's for sure.
Hey, did you like the movie A League of Their Own?
Boy, it's been a long time since I saw it, but yeah, it was okay.
91-ish. They're doing
I'm not a Rosie O'Donnell fan.
They're doing a remake in a series form that's going to debut on Friday on Amazon Prime. A League of Their Own. It's 8 episodes long, 1 hour each. Kind of comedy, kind of drama, but it looks good. So I'll probably check it out. A League of Their Own. I like the movie. None of the same people are back, although Rosie does have a cameo.
All new cast. Cast.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else for you before we wrap it up?
No, we're late. I'm hungry. Let's wrap it up, Bill.
All right. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Kevin Reilly, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Bob Sullivan's LikeYourAge.com, PCC 118 Raz Room, and Dave LaVoy of Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. For Jim, Chet, Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, August 17th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, listen to our website, phillypressboxradio.com, or blogtalkradio.com/phillypressboxradio, on Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans, and let's go Phillies.
I hope he had